grades 4. Today is Friday, and today we are looking at exercise 48 in our math workbooks, and it is 2 pages. So we will be working on page 111 and page 112. Okay. And for this exercise, just like we've been working with cubes, today you'll see it says, the exercise at the top, it says, what is the volume of each solid? So these pictures, these are solids, right? These are, you can make them out of blocks, you can make them out of Lego. So basically what we are looking at is volume. Now you may ask, what is volume? Volume is a space that something takes. So each thing, even this lotion, even this sticker thingy, even this tape, right? Everything takes volume. That means everything takes up some space, and we just call it volume. Okay, now there is a way of measuring volume. We can't just say, oh, it's this much, right? Just like we measure other things, we measure volume when we look at how much space it's taking, but we call it cubic centimeters. Okay, and the way you write it is, it looks like this. So we write cm3, and you may ask, why would we write 3? So cubic centimeter and 3. This little 3 means 3 directions or 3 dimensions. Okay, so for example, any solid, like let's say this, we would look at its sides. So it has 3 directions. We would measure it in 3 directions, and each direction is 1 centimeter. Okay, that's why there's 3 directions or 3 dimensions. So we would have 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter, and 1 centimeter. Okay, so that's why we call it cubic centimeters. So that's how we measure volume, and we look at 3 directions. Okay. Now, if you look at your solids on page 111, you would see, so I've drawn it for you. I have 1 arrow going down, 1 across, and 1 over. And now, all they're asking you is they're asking you how much space is each square taking. So we would look at, so we can do it 2 ways. If you want to, you can go ahead and count each square. So just like number it. Okay. You can number it like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, like this, and you'd get the same answer. Or you can look at it this way: how many are on this side? So on the side, I have 2. Across, I have 3, right? So I have side, on the side I have 1, 2. At the bottom, I have 1, 2, 3. And on the side, I have 2 again. So 3, 2, and 3. We multiply all 3 sides. Okay, so we go ahead and we multiply all of our sides, all of our dimensions, all of our sides, and we would get length, width, and height. So the way we find the volume is when we multiply length, width, and height. Okay, so 3 dimensions, 3 sides. So you multiply all of them to get the volume. So it is, I want you to remember this, we multiply length, width, and height to get the volume. So it would be length times width times height. That is equal volume. Okay, that's how we find volume, when we multiply our length, our width, and our height. Okay, and so for this exercise, you don't need to necessarily know this, but this concept is coming up in our following exercises. So I would like it, I would appreciate it, I would encourage you to remember this. We find the volume by multiplying 3 things, 3 sides: length, width, and height. So over here, we saw that we have our height is 2, our length is 3, and our width is 2 again. So we multiply, so it would be 2 times 3 gives us 6, right? And 6 times 2 gives us 12. So that's how we would do this, okay? So when you see a square that is not missing any, that is even, unlike this, so do you see how it's two boxes or 2 cubes are missing here? It may be, you may have to do a little extra, I'll explain to you how, but whenever you see this kind where no blocks are missing, you can multiply length, width, and height to get your volume, okay? So I marked for myself, I looked at it and I said, oh, 2 on this side, I have 2 blocks on this side. I have 3 at the bottom, so I wrote 2 on my side. I wrote 3 at the bottom and I wrote 2 on the side again. So I gave myself 3 dimensions, 2, 3, and 2. Then I knew I just need to go ahead and I need to multiply all 3 numbers. Okay, so I multiplied my 2 to my 3 first, right? 2 times 3 gave me 6. Then I went ahead and I did 6 times 2, which gave me 12. So I knew my volume is 12. Now let's look at this one. This one is missing these 2 blocks. So you can just write down the numbers, as in like count them up and write it down, or we can do it this way. So I know again, my height, it's because I have 2 over on this side, but 1 over on this side, I'd still use my 1 height. Okay, so 1, then I have 4 at the bottom, and then I have 1 over here, right? I need to remember that I'm not counting this one yet, these 2 at the top. Okay, so I'll go ahead and I'll do 1 times 4 gives me 4. 4 times 1 gives me 4. And then I have 2 at the top. So I'll add those up. So 4 plus 2 at the top gives me 6. Does that make sense? Okay, so for these ones where you see that they're even, where no blocks have been removed, I would encourage you to multiply your length, your height, and your width. Where they're missing a block, you can still do length, height, and width. You just need to remember what is missing. So let's do this one. Okay. So I went ahead and I knew I have 2 on this side, so I marked it down. 2 over on this side, I have 2 over on this side, so 2 times 2 gives me 4, right? 4 times 4, because there's 4 at the bottom, it gives me 16. However, I do know there's a missing block here, right? So I can't have 16 because 1 is missing. So that means 16, take away 1, I would be left with 15. So the volume of this cube is not 16, but 15, because I remembered that 1 cube is missing. So that's what you need to do. Same, go ahead and do this one. But remember, there's 3 cubes missing. So you'll do the same thing. Count your, or see your height. Count your height, count your width, and count your length, width, and height. And then multiply them, then just subtract the missing cubes. Does that make sense? Same with this one, okay? So I went ahead and I said, okay, there's 2 here, and there's 3 at the bottom. So, and then there's 2 at the top. So 2, 2, and 3. I went ahead and I multiplied, but I subtracted my numbers. So I subtracted 2 out of it, the 2 missing ones. So I went ahead and I did 2 times 2 gives me 4. 4 times 3 gives me 12, right? However, that would not be correct because 12 would mean that I had both cubes here. Because I don't, so I'm going to subtract 2 out of 12, which gives me 10. Okay, so that's what you need to do. And then at the bottom, it's asking you which solid has the greatest volume. Which one is taking more space? So you're going to go ahead and you're going to do this one. Okay, on the next page, it's same idea. You have to go ahead. You have to look at on this page, grades 4, I would encourage you to use your length times width times height to find your volume. That just means you're going to draw 3 arrows. You're going to see how many do you have at the top. I have 2 at the top. I have 1 on the side. And I have 3 at the bottom. So 2 times 1 gives me 2. Remember, we need to multiply all 3 numbers. 2 times 1 gives me 2. 2 times 3 gives me 6. So the volume of this cube or this solid is 6 centimeter. Okay? So that's what you need to do. And you'll finish the rest of these. Just go ahead. And again, if you want to do length times width times height, remember you need to take into account the missing cubes. Okay? But otherwise, this is what you have to do. So for these ones, you don't have to worry about the missing cubes because there are none missing. For these ones, you will have to watch out for the missing cubes, or you can just go ahead and count them and then write down your centimeter squares, okay, or cubic centimeters. Good luck.